Hey, welcome to the Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. It's your girl, Constance Carter. And guess what, y'all? I'm your host for today. So, in this episode, we're talking about a viral video that has sparked a lot of controversy. A mother admitted to taking her daughter's money from her deceased father because he didn't pay child support. She claimed it was her money, y'all. But her daughter says that her mama stole it. So joining me today are the queens. Hey, queens. So first up, we got Miss Athena Gardner. She is a CPA and wealth coach. We have Dr. Charm. She's a naturopathic doctor, a spiritual coach. And guess what, y'all? She funny too. And then we have Miss Nicole Shelton. And she is, I don't have her title on me. Are you
attorney?
Yes, we need her.
We got a sister girl in the law.
Come on, yes. So listen, before we get started, I want to make sure that you are subscribed to the Fly Nubian Queens. Make sure you subscribe to the Fly Nubian Queens on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. Also, text Queens to 87948 to receive notifications when we go live. That's Queens to 87948 QUEENS. And don't forget, Fly Nubian Money is now on Spotify. Tune in Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. by searching for Fly Nubian Money on Spotify. All right. And if you're a queen that wants to get your money right and get your money tight, go to flynubianmoney.com and try our free, I said FREE, financial services, our courses, and much more. All right, let's get started, y'all. I need to see this video. So yeah, before we get into the questions, let's watch this damn video of what we're talking about so we can have some context.
Why would you do that?
What you mean, why would I do that? Did your daddy pass away?
But that was not. I don't even have my birth certificate. So you took my birth certificate?
Did he ever pay child support? And what you mean birth certificate? Didn't I have?
What does that got to do with me? He left me money, not you.
Okay, but he never took care of you. So that was his payback for me. That was my payback. That he's never gave me child support to take care of you or your
That has
brothers.
nothing to do with me.
What you mean it doesn't?
I don't know why you think you can just take my money. It's not your money. It's not yours at all.
It is my money. I had you.
It's in my name.
Okay,
That's stealing.
I gave you your name.
That's stealing. You took my birth certificate and claimed insurance money, my inheritance. That's stealing.
I had you with your father that passed away, that didn't give me a single dime, not one dime to help take care of you guys.
So you're admitting to stealing, so you think that's okay to steal?
I'm not stealing.
All right, y'all, let's say it in unison. You're trifling. Come on, everybody. You're trifling. Come on.
Good type of mother.
You know what? They may not think she's trifling. I don't know. Do you guys think she's trifling? What do you guys think? I'm going to start with Dr. Charm. What do you think about her reasons for taking this young lady's money?
I mean, we talk about, misogyny, but we don't talk about these toxic mothers. So there are a lot of toxic mothers that are out here in our community who are basically ruining their children's relationships because of the modeling that they're showing to their children. And so you have a lot of people, men and women, who are scarred by the type of mothers that they're being raised by. And this is a perfect example. So this woman didn't get child support, from the father, but instead of taking it to courts and through the proper channels, she's resentful of the daughter and has taken it out on the daughter. And now she's allegedly committed fraud and claiming an insurance policy using the daughter's birth certificate. And now she's committed a crime and admitted to it on camera. So that's a whole nother bag of worms. And then just, as a person who was raised by my mother, who had an absent father, my mother went through the proper channels and received child support well into my adulthood. And my father just passed away last year. And there was a question of something being inherited. But my mother never would, obviously I'm over 40, so she couldn't step in and take my birth certificate anywhere. But she didn't feel entitled to anything that I would have inherited from my father's passing, just because he didn't pay child support when I was, when he was alive, or when I was a minor. And so you go through the proper channels and you do things the right way, because now she is disadvantaging her daughter from having a future.
Yeah, that's true. And that's a very valid point. You said a couple of things I want to touch on, but I do want to ask the audience, do you guys think that this is wrong? Is the mother wrong for doing this? Or is this something that you would do if you had a deadbeat dad who never paid anything, and now you feel like this is your just due? Finally, when the money comes in, you done took care of these kids their whole life, and now it's your turn to be on the receiving end. But one of the things you said, Dr. Charm, is you said she committed fraud. Now, we got legal counsel in the house, and I want to know, is this a fraudulent act on behalf of the mother?
Well, hold on. So y'all might have picked the wrong sister girl in the law, because I'm going to play the devil's advocate.
Okay.
So I actually had a show on the ION network called Deadbeat, Kentucky and the Child Support Court.
Okay.
And so I've been a father's rights attorney and a defense attorney and done other work. I'm going to say we don't have enough evidence. But what I can talk about is child support is to support the child. Child support is made to put the child in the legal and financial position the child would have been in had both parents' income been in the home. So 9 times out of 10, when you have a good mother, 9 times out of 10, she's supplementing, she's doing everything that she can as a single mother, and fathers if it's a single dad, to make sure that that child doesn't go without. So it is very possible that parents can be receiving child support until after their children have emancipated and become grown, because they hadn't gotten it all the way when the child was younger. I feel like in this video, we don't have enough evidence. If this child is still a child, let's say she's 15, 16, her mother has every single right to use her birth certificate and go get that money. Because you see, she was in her mama's house while she was recording it. And her mama's probably paying that cell phone bill, got her hair and her nails done for her and all of that. So the mama's still doing what the mama's supposed to do. I'm not saying there ain't ratchet mamas out there, though. Because I know women who take their children's money and they squander it and the child never gets to see it. We don't know if that's even the case here. Now, if the woman went and her child was over the age of 18, she took this money, she's not giving the daughter any of it, then I think we have fraud and crime. But if this child is under the age of 18 and still in the mom's house, she has every right to do what she did. We also don't know who paid for this insurance policy. That was the first thing I thought. Well, who paid for the darn policy? I don't care if your name is on it, because I never got child support. So I had to take out a policy against my son's father, who still isn't dead. I still haven't got that money. I mean, I got like 12 payments his whole life, and that was under the age of 2 for my son. So if the mom took the insurance policy, you darn right, I'm gonna take that money.
Yeah, I'm all too familiar with deadbeat daddies. Anyway, I digress. So let me ask you this. When we talk about, so first of all, I want to make sure that everybody is commenting. Know this, every time we come live, this is a dialogue and not a monologue. Okay. So even though we are talking to each other, we are talking to you. We want you to talk back to us. Okay. So Athena, Miss Attorney, talked about something very, very important. I think there's the legal aspect and there's the moral aspect of it, right? So what's your thought on the reason why she did it? Or do you think that, ethically, or do you think that she had a right to do that?
Well, I think that from a moral perspective, and I'm sorry to come against our legal counsel, I feel like there needs to be transparency, right? Even if you're a parent and the child is a minor, we don't know the age of this lady. If she might be under 18, right? And in that instance, then she does have, parental control over a minor. But if I felt like, from what I can see from the video, if that was something that you were going to do for the benefit of your child, why would you not just have a conversation and explain to them what's happening? Be like, hey, my child, your father left you 50, 100,000, whatever in your insurance policy. I'm going to take this amount, put it to your college fund. We're going to invest in some property for you. And I'm going to take this amount for the care because he never gave me any money or whatever. And I feel like a child would be reasonable. So the fact that there's a level, it sounds like in the video, there was a level of deceit there. Like she just found out that, you know, her mom had been using the money. Also, I wish we would have more information, but if she did take that money and put it to great use, that she wasn't, you know, shopping and, you know, traveling and eating lobster and steak and
trust me, that mama was shopping and she was traveling and she was eating lobster and steak.
Getting a 40-inch bust down and get her nails pressed on, you know, if she was using it for a good cause, then
Not the bust down.
The bust down.
But I think this does touch on something. I forget if it was you, Constance, or if it was you, Dr. Charm. There is this thing in, especially our community, the reverence of mothers. And sometimes we skate or don't discuss toxic mothers or dusty mamas out there that don't do a good job and traumatize the children. And now we have all these relationship hiccups. So I think this incident, while it is unfortunate and causing a lot of stir, at least it gives us the opportunity to open up the conversation more.
All right. Okay, that's good. That's good. So again, for those who are viewing, we want to know what your opinion is. What do you think? If this was your mother and she took your money because your father was not paying child support, would you be okay with it? Miss Nicole, let me ask you this, because you are the attorney. You are the resident attorney today. When it comes to, you know, how does this play into part when it comes to inheritances and child support? Because you talked on it a little bit earlier, but I want to know, like, go a little bit deeper into that, because you did mention if he's not paying, then, you know, she has every right to it if she's under 18. Now, child support is for who?
Child support is for the child. So if
100%.
If the child is under the age of 18, the current child support, that means what's due every week, is technically due to the child, is due for the care of the child. Mm-hmm. If it becomes back pay, however, back pay actually goes to the parent, because what you're assuming is that this child was still taken care of without the child support. So technically the child support goes to the parent who supplemented, who went a little bit above and beyond to make sure that that child was okay. In all actuality, though, child support is for the support of the child. Now, if this lady gets older, so we don't know if this happened when the child was under the age of 18 and now she's over the age of 18 and finding out, or if the child is still under the age of 18, or God forbid, this mama ain't that ratchet that she waited until the child was grown and stole her identity to get this money that she felt like she deserved. If it's the scenario where the child was under the age of 18, found out over the age of 18 that my mom got this money, I never saw it. She may, in some states, be able to go and sue her mom for that money. If she's over the age of 18 when it happens, she can go for criminal charges and civilly sue her mom for the money, for the identity theft and all of that. And I agree that there needed to be some transparency here, because that's what it sounds like, that the daughter's just finding out and she's like, Mom, how could you do this to me? But if the mom was taking care of the child and she was doing what she was supposed to do, I still think that changes a big part of the dynamics. And we say inheritance, insurance policy beneficiary, the money that you get from being a beneficiary on an insurance policy isn't necessarily inheritance as we would think if it was a will, if it was a trust or something like that. So that also changes how this works.
I really appreciate your contrasting point of view on this, even though I disagree, because I do believe that it is an inheritance. I mean, if it was specifically, she was the beneficiary of this policy that was specifically for her, she's the due recipient.
Hold on. How come we don't fault Dad? Dad didn't do what he was supposed to do. The real story is you have two irresponsible parents, period. Because he didn't leave a legacy of wealth for his child. And if the child was the beneficiary, technically he should have had a guardian other than the mom, if the mom had money issues, listed to get the money for this child if the child was under the age of 18, because that's the right way to do it. So
that's the right way to do it, but that's not always the black way to do it. But you know what? I don't even want to be stereotypical, like getting lucky.
No. Right. Insurance is a tool to pass along wealth. It is.
Yeah, it is. Right. But getting lucky in Kentucky, she said, very stereotypical of y'all to assume that what she did with the money. And I can appreciate that. You know, we don't want to be stereotypical, but if you can, please roll that video again for the people who just came on here, just so you could see our perspective of why we believe that she might have got a bust down, nails done, did some traveling, ate some steak and lobster. Go ahead and roll that tape, please.
Why would you do that?
What you mean, why would I do that? Did your daddy pass away?
But that was not, I don't even have my birth certificate. So you took my birth certificate?
Did he ever pay child support? And what you mean birth certificate? Didn't I have
What does that got to do with me? He left me money, not you.
Okay, but
you.
He never took care of you. So that was his payback from me. That was my payback. That he's never gave me child support to take care of you or your
That has
brothers.
nothing to do with me.
What you mean it doesn't?
I don't know why you think you can just take my money. It's not your money. It's not yours at all.
It is my money. I had you.
It's in my name.
Okay,
That's stealing.
I gave you your name.
That's stealing. You took my birth certificate and claimed insurance money. My inheritance. That's stealing.
I had you with your father that passed away, that didn't give me a single dime, not one dime to help take care of you guys.
So you're admitting to stealing, so you think that's okay to steal?
I'm not stealing.
So I just want to say, bust down, check. Steak and lobster, check. Traveling, check. So anyway, let's get to these statistics. I want to see some of the statistics that we have on inheritances and child support. So only 43.5% of custodial parents received the full amount of child support owed in 2018. So we know that there is a disparity out there for the recipients of child support. They're not receiving, people are not paying child support in the way that they should. We understand that. So then that poses the question was the mother entitled? 44% of people believe inheritance disputes are becoming common. Yes, that's why certain things are so important, like having trust set up. Inheritance. Look at all these inheritance sets. You have a mom and aunt stole $144K in inheritance. Dad accuses mom of stealing money from their daughter. My mom took my dad's burial. So there are in social media, we're seeing situations like this come up all the time. Now, Dr. Charm, let me ask you a question. Why is financial education so important for situations like this?
I mean, it is very important. And I understand the good counselor has said that insurance is not technically inheritance, but it is a tool for wealth building. Whites are twice as likely to inherit as Black families. Or white people are twice as likely to inherit. And when they do inherit, it's on average as 5 times more. Also, the median net worth of the average Black family is $1,700. That was as of 2013. So that was 12 years ago, almost 12 years ago. And the median white household net worth is $116,000. So when this woman chose to do this, she is robbing her daughter of a tool, whether it's direct inheritance or not. It's a tool that she could be utilizing to improve her future standings. She could be using that for college education. If she was not a college track type of person, to be a skilled trade, a beauty school, plumbing school, electrical, any of those things, or to start a business. That is a huge barrier to the start of Black businesses, and failure of Black businesses is not having that capital to get it started. So by her mother making the selfish decision, she's robbing her daughter of a lot of things. We don't know if she went to the courts. It doesn't sound like she did, but that sense of entitlement, and dare I say, I'm looking deeper. You know, I'm a spiritual coach, you guys. I'm clairvoyant. I'm looking deeper into this situation. And what I got from that video is that this is a situation, this mother is resentful of the daughter. I had to raise this man's child and he didn't pay child support. He didn't help me in any way. Well, I'm entitled to something. That's something that compensates me because of everything that I had to go through. Me. And it's really not about when you bring a child into this world, you need to think about your children.
Girl, me gets thrown out the window when you have children. It is no longer about you. Rob McCoy said, I knew she'd find a way to blame the man. And that is funny. But to be honest with you, Athena, there is a disparity. Men aren't paying child support. They're not taking, you saw the statistics. There are discrepancies. Women are raising these kids alone. So even though the man is dead, God rest his soul, is there still some responsibility that he should have taken?
Oh, most definitely. I think the last that I saw was the average child support payment was around $400 something. I'm like, who can raise a child for $400? I was like, my ovaries closed up once I saw that stat. I was like, ladies, we gotta close the legs to the dusties. We gotta close our legs to the dusties because it's gonna be us who. You might end up fighting with your daughter over inheritance money in that situation, right? But I do think that opens up the conversation, right? What is it that is causing people to not pay their child support payments? And stereotypically, men in this scenario, especially if the average payment $400. Now I know y'all could do something for that $400 a month, right? And I know let
me just say this real quick. $400 in groceries every week. $500 in groceries every week. I got 3 growing boys. $500 a week. But go ahead.
They're about to eat your house and home costumes.
We ain't even talked about what their shoe sizes probably is.
13, they 6'1", 6'2". They eat anything. Y'all hear me? So
but yes, back to the men. So yeah, the men need to be more responsible or, be more supportive. And what I've learned is there's a psychologist that I follow, that's Dr. Ike. She's amazing. And she says, whatever the issues that have not been resolved between the two parents, the child becomes a container of that. So when the two parents cannot get along, it negatively impacts the child because either the resentments or the frustrations end up piling onto the child. So in this scenario, I'm sure if he would have stayed together with the mom, it would have been more of a better financial situation. Maybe there was like a more vengeful spirit as to why he's like, oh, I'm just not gonna pay this, right? Also, women do experience resentment. Studies have shown that women experience resentment and actually do acts that are more harmful to children when they are not with their child's father. And especially when they have other children by different men, they tend to favor the child of the man who is treating them well. So fellas, how you treat your children's mother severely impacts how she treats your child. So if you do care about your child, then it will behoove as a group that you at least try your best to maintain a good relationship with your daughters to reduce the risk of, or your son, whoever, to reduce the risk of child abuse. What I would also like to say as well, as women, we also have to take accountability and responsibility. Just besides, closing our legs to dusty men, which I will put on a t-shirt to remind myself and to, Hasholoboya, thankful I have skirted that. But you need to look at women who are mentors that can show you how you can prepare your child for a successful future. Like Constance, for instance, she is a wealth activator, right? She has these courses and things where she shows about how she helps her children invest in real estate and college and all the different ventures that they have. She is an example of a woman that is acting within the best interest of her children.
That's what life is about. We want our kids to do better than us. And one of the things that a statistic that I read was that this is the first generation that's going to do worse than all the previous generations. So after the Civil War, my battery getting ready to die. You see, I was calling my daughter. After the Civil War, every generation has progressively done better than the previous generation. This is the first generation where we're not going to see that happen. So it's paramount that we implement certain things, that we go out, think outside the box, that we do certain things to set our children up for better. Look at the inflation. Kids can't even, I paid out of pocket, $125,000 for my daughter's college tuition. I got a son that's junior in college. I got another son that's getting ready to go to college. they can't afford to live on their own. You know, the property that my daughter has, she's renting it out. Luckily, she gets income from that. But inflation, jobs, all of that stuff. So you don't want to take from your kids. You want to give to your kids. You want to put them in a better position than they were in. But I digress. Y'all, thank you for tuning in to the Fly Nubian Queen. If you just came in, this is the Fly Nubian Queen. I want to make sure that you subscribe to the Fly Nubian Queen. Make sure you follow us on Facebook. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. And I want to make sure that if you want some information, if you want to know every time we go live, text Queens to 87498. Remember, QUEENS to 87948. And don't forget, we on Spotify, y'all. So make sure you go to Spotify, tune in Monday through Friday at 1:00, but search for Fly Nubian Queen on Spotify. And if you're a queen and you want to get your money right, you want to get your money tight, go to Fly Nubian Queen and try our free financial resources and courses and more. All right, y'all. So let's look at some of the comments over here. Let me see.
Well, hold on. I have a comment real quick.
Go ahead. What they talking
so
about?
I looked at one of the things that the mom said was, your dad didn't help me with you and your siblings. So apparently this mama had more than one. So the first thing that came to my mind, and it's probably totally inappropriate, so that's why I have to say it as your sister girl-in-the-law. I have a friend that would be like, don't be bad at me because you got bad pussy management. But if you can't, you made the baby with him, now you mad at him. Don't be mad at him. No, but really, I always feel like I'm the traitor baby mama. Because when I was doing father's rights, the sad part about it is you did have women who equated child support with their way to be vindictive and to get back at the guy, like it was a punishment to the man. And I would have guys who felt like that's the worst thing that you could do to them. Like, I'm raising my grandson for my son, and I finally took him to child support because he wasn't helping me. And he's like, that's the worst thing, mom, that you could do to a black man. I'm like, I did everything I could to prevent. And his money doesn't stack up to mine, but he owes it to his child for his child to know my dad loves me enough to invest in me. My dad loves me enough to put some money in the bank and I'm not going to spend it. I'm going to let him stack it up and be like, look what your daddy got you in the jar, you know? But the thing that tripped me out when I was doing father's rights is I would have a lot of dads who would say, just give me my shorty. Just give me my I'll give you the child support. You can have every dollar you want. I want my kid. I want to be in my kid's life. It doesn't sound like this dad was that guy. But again, we don't have enough in the video to even know what else the dad may have done for his kids, or if he had to stay away because mama was just that toxic. And I do agree that this generation, it's gonna be bad. But statistically, it's not just because it's this generation. When you look at wealth, especially wealth in the Black community, every 4 generations, it resets. So you have somebody who's struggling, and then their parents were struggling, so they do a little bit better. And then the next generation does a little bit better. And then the next generation is doing so good that the last generation has no clue. And then you have to reset. So now you have to struggle because you had it too easy to this point. I think we're getting back to that. And I think that's why this is going to be the generation that, Lord help us. For all the Black mamas, woo, Lord help us.
Lord help us for real. I think they gave us the internet though, so we have access to a lot of resources. But I do want to, piggyback on what you said. Like, it was great that he had the wherewithal to, even set his child up to have some type of inheritance, of which he thought was going to happen, once he passed on. And she very well may have been a bitter baby mama. I mean, that can be the case. But let me see.
No, she was bitter. She was bitter.
There wasn't no question about it. She was a bitter baby mama. Wasn't no question.
She was bitter.
Getting lucky in Kentucky. She said, I went the Ebony route because I was 36. What does that mean? Somebody said, what you talking about?
Ebony K. Williams had a baby of her own. Ebony K. Williams had a baby of her own because she didn't have a husband or a boyfriend. Yeah. She was getting older.
What's the Ebony route? What is that? Say that, Dr. Charles.
She decided to have a baby by herself, not have to worry about baby daddy or anything. But y'all want to know something funny? Legally, there was a woman, and she wasn't a sister. Legally, there was a woman who got a sperm donor because she was in a lesbian relationship. They broke up. She couldn't get child support from her lesbian wife and went after the sperm donor. That's a whole nother show, though.
Oh wow!
So I have seen that. I've seen that video. I've seen that video.
Oh, people ain't safe out here. It don't matter. you try to have a little anonymity and try.
What she did was start to date him. They went out on a date. She swabbed a cup or something, got it tested to prove that he was the dad, and then hit him up for child support.
What? So did she get it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's how messed up our life.
Sperm donor. So doesn't he sign some kind of waiver? Doesn't she sign some kind of waiver when they go and get the sperm?
Yeah. However, everything that you signed isn't legal. Just because you signed it and it was in writing don't mean it's going to uphold in court.
So then going back to that, what legal and ethical issues should be considered here?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm not talking about with the sperm donor. I'm talking about with the inheritance. What should be considered legally and ethically with this case?
I will say that whatever dad left for the kid, it should go to the kid. It should go to, if at least to the care and well-being of the child, or to be put up. Again, I feel like dad didn't do what he was supposed to do, because he could have protected child's money from mom. Especially, it sounds like she is vindictive, and he should have known. He should have known that his child was going to need to be protected from mom, and that, you know, that she wasn't going to get this money if he didn't do what he was supposed to do.
Because couldn't he have set up a trust for the insurance?
He definitely should have. He could have had the insurance policy pour over directly into a trust, and then have a beneficiary that was, have the child would be the beneficiary. The trustee, the person who manages the money until the child's old enough and ready for it, should not have been mom. But it sounds like he didn't. It sounds like he put the inheritance only to the child. And if the child was under the age of 18, technically, he should have put it to a guardian on behalf of, in care of, for the child.
Mm-hmm. And with that being said, and I'm glad you said that, Dr. Charm, about the trust, it's paramount, Black people. I'm in real estate, and I've sold thousands of homes to thousands of families. And the biggest dispute I always see is that when homes aren't in living trust, the kids end up hating each other. And, 12 years ago, I moved to an affluent neighborhood, right? And it was an all white neighborhood in California. We on the golf course and all that stuff. So I'm like, okay, let me see what these people do, who they are. Let me check, because, you got access being real estate. So I go look it up. I couldn't see who it was, because you know why? Everybody's house is in a trust. I moved to Maryland. I'm in the wealthiest Black community in the country. And I'm like, let me go see who's over here. Guess what? I looked it up, and guess what? I could see who everybody is, because nobody has trust. Black people aren't getting living trust. They're not doing asset protection on the level as our white counterparts. And so it's extremely important that we get our stuff together. If you have a will, come on, a will be contested. Can't hold up a lot of times in the courts, because at the end of the day, if you have a property, it goes to probate. That's costly, it's timely, all of that stuff. So all of these things could be avoided, but Black people just don't know on that level what they need to do to protect their assets or even protect their children.
Well, here's the one thing I will say, and I do probate. Was in probate court yesterday. And the sad part is usually in probate, it's more of the Black families, and they're fighting over Big Mama's house, and it's less than $200,000 when you have all of these multi-million-dollar estates that don't see the light of day in probate court. It's not a one size fits all. And honest to God, it's not a do-it-yourselfer either. I'm the kind of attorney, I'll tell you, as a professional, it's just like when you go to the dentist. If you have a loose tooth, you're going to pull that loose tooth and you're going to keep going. You got a toothache, you put some oil gel on it and you keep going. But you're not going to put in implants and do root canals on yourself. You have to know what level of expertise and knowledge that you have. And so wills, in some instances, a will is okay. In some instances, you might not need a trust because you have too much going on, or you don't have enough in assets to actually put it in a trust. I've had people that have tried to give it the one size fits all. So-and-so gave me a template. I used it. And when they come to me, I've seen people lose everything or think they're doing one thing and what they wrote is the total opposite. They had no clue of how to title it to the trust or what. I mean, so when it comes
in other words, get an attorney to do it.
That's what I was going to say. Nicole, Terry Wilson said, Nicole, how do you determine who to trust to set up a trust?
How do you determine who? It's a one-on-one conversation that you need to have. And honestly, even when my clients come to me, I always pull in an insurance broker. I always pull in a CPA so that it's not even just me as an attorney saying this is what you need, because we work darn hard. We built this country on our backs, and what wealth we do have for our families, we need to be making sure that it's not you just taking one person's word. I mean, this is serious business. And so it's not a matter of, that's a one-on-one conversation. If you're in Kentucky, I'll be glad to have it with you. I do some in other states as well, but it's not a one size fits all. And if you have a certain amount of money, a certain amount of assets, you have a home that is a certain amount of money, I would say go ahead and make the investment to do a trust. If you don't own a home and you have very little in even liquid assets, I would say hold off on doing a trust. That may not be what you need at this point, but we can get to it later, because sometimes the cost and the efforts to get a trust and do it the right way may not, the cost is going to outweigh the benefits.
And Nicole, I'm so glad.
Well, you can find me. Most of my stuff is under Nicole Compton, because I just got married, but I got you, sister. I got you. We can have those conversations. And
Nicole, I'm so glad that you're a part of this conversation. I'm so glad, because this is something that is a passion of mine in terms of, the transferring of wealth for Black people. When you look at John Singleton, it took 3 years for them to settle his estate, 3 or 5 years. And his mama was fighting with his baby mama, only one baby mom, Yep. Yeah, 6, 7 kids, only one child was in the trust that was done 20 years before that. Then you have James Brown. How long they had that man sitting on ice?
Franklin.
Yeah, how long they had that man sitting on ice before?
And the whole thing with John Singleton is that the baby mother had been with him for 25 years. And she ended up walking away with nothing.
Nothing.
They know to be.
Hold on, but that's bad planning on, again, bad pussy management.
Being a girlfriend is
you don't have to be married. You don't have to be married.
Yep.
You don't have to be married to do asset planning.
No.
I recently got married. Brother love me, okay? Before I said I do, we were together almost 10 years. But if he passed away, I knew where everything was. I had access. I was on the stuff to make sure that I can manage what I needed, and vice versa. So you don't even have to. She was stupid, but you don't even have to be married to plan it out.
Yeah. Let me say this. Your man got a brother. Anyway, so Prince.
He actually do, girl, and he's single.
Okay, we're gonna have to talk offline. Prince, John Singleton,
Chadwick Boseman.
Who?
Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman. So all of these people have Prince. What, $100 million, $200 million estate? No trust.
Oh, so here's the other part. Don't do it. It's not a once and forget it either.
Yes,
because that's what I meant to say when you're talking about the girlfriend being with him forever. It's not a fix it and forget it. Yeah. Here recently, my pastor passed away. His wife passed away. He got remarried, and when he died, and I asked him, "We need to do your estate plan. We need to get it done." He specifically named his first wife, who he had been with for like 40 years. So when he died, and he had already remarried, and she predeceased him, she got nothing. She got a hard way to go with some greedy, ungrateful kids. Yes.
Whew. So AB said, what is the minimum amount in assets to consider getting a trust?
If it depends on, well, if I would say 100,000 is a good number.
Okay. Well, what if you have a property that's only worth 50,000?
What'd you say?
What if you have a property that's worth only 50,000?
Is it a property that you're trying to stay in? Is it an investment property?
No, what if it's an inheritance? Because I think at any level, my opinion, you're the counselor, but my opinion is that if you have any amount of property, you should have a trust. And then when you talk about other maybe liquid assets, insurance and things like that, yeah, if you don't have property, but I think any amount on a property, just because I'm in real estate, you should
If
have
it's
it.
a pay, yes, if it's a paid off property and you own it straight out, I do agree with that.
Or if there's equity, right?
Yeah.
Right. If there's a little bit, if there's any amount of equity in it, you don't.
If you don't own it straight out, not every, you can do it, and I've done it for people, but you're not supposed to put it into a trust if there is a lien against, like a lien against it, a mortgage against it. And so that's why I said if it's paid off, yes. If someone is the note holder on it, then you may have issues trying to put it into trust.
See, I've not had that experience, and maybe it's a California thing, because I know everyone, that
California and Louisiana are usually the outliers.
So when you have a property, even if there's a mortgage on it, having it in a trust, because what happens is having it in a trust is just like having a person there when it comes to selling it. So if that person dies, even if there's a mortgage on it, it's a very simple process. You put it on the market, you go to title, the title looks at the trust, and the title company looks at the trust, and then they do whatever, they make the transfer of the property from the seller to the buyer.
But not all mortgage companies will allow you to retitle it to the trust if there's still a mortgage, if there's still a note that's due on the house. That's what my experience has been.
That's interesting.
Then I've done it, but I've done it. It's one of those don't ask. Don't ask. Just apologize afterwards.
But they're going to be notified if the title is transferred. So they're going to know. So I haven't had, and I've done a lot of them, I haven't had that experience, but maybe it's a California thing. I do, before we go on though, because so let me just say this. If you just tuned in, this is a great conversation, right, y'all? This is the Fly Nubian Queen. I want to make sure that you are subscribing to the Fly Nubian Queen. I want to make sure that you are following us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. Everywhere you see the Fly Nubian Queen, make sure you follow us, subscribe, and then text the words QUEENS to 87948 so that you can be notified every time we come live. Now, Athena, when we talk about trust, what do you think this young lady, mentally, how is her trust going to be with her family at this point, knowing that her own mama took her money?
Listen, the mother-daughter relationship dynamic is so complex, right? Because on the outside, a lot of times it looks like most moms and daughters get along. And obviously being a daughter to a mother, those relationships can experience quite a lot of turbulence. So I think that will diminish the trust, right? But I also want to touch on something that was said as it pertains to actual having living trust and things together. And what I want to even pose a question to the audience is, does someone love you if they have the means and capability to financially protect you and they don't, right? So in the instance of a man leaving insurance policy money or any kind of inheritance and just not making sure that you get it, or the other examples that we discussed where there were men who passed on and died away and didn't leave their girlfriend, wife, whatever, any kind of money. Like, is there a correlation between the level of love there and actually leaving, the money to you? And what I will also say in regard to trust is that I feel like especially parents who are very involved in their children's life will do their best to set up their children. I know when my parents were putting their trust together, now they didn't let us see all of what was in the trust now, okay? They didn't let us do that, and it cost a couple stacks. But what they did tell us was to make sure, because the lawyers told them to make sure to tell us this, that if whenever the time comes and we're supposed to get, some guap, some money, to make sure it's in an account that is only in our sole name. Like if we're married, make sure it's not a joint account for the marriage, because then that can become community property. And if anything happened down the line, they can be entitled to that money. So I just wanted to share that as well. But I think that this definitely, for me, if I was that daughter, that would definitely impair my trust with my mother. Because even if it was something that wasn't going on to nails or cruises or 40-inch bust downs, why not have the transparency? Why am I finding out in this deceitful way? Like, why is that? And I think that it would take a lot to try and to recover in trust and moving forward. I might listen. I'm all, if I was that kid, I'm like, all right, mom, I can understand you need a 40-inch bust down. We need to have a vacation. You know, we need to, I would break my mom something off. But the whole money, the whole thing, no. I'll be upset.
But and it speaks to the question, what does that teach, Dr. Charm, the child about financial literacy? If, she like, yeah, we go on vacation, because the problem is we're simply not teaching our Black children financial literacy. What do you think, Dr.
Well,
Charm?
I mean, here's the thing. We haven't had wealth to pass on to process these situations in order to model this behavior. Unfortunately, any attempts at financial gains in the Black community has been deliberately socially engineered to be destroyed. I mean, look at the Tulsa race massacre and redlining, and then we're just listening to a debate on, I think, like a Twitter space about the GI Bill. Just even if, people that don't even believe in reparations, just even if the people whose grandparents didn't get their GI Bill funds could get entitled to some type of compensation for that. So we didn't have anything to manage in order to get this literacy. So now, we're in a situation now we have more Black professionals than ever before, that we have higher access to education and access to some of this higher income, to where, we have Black CPAs and attorneys and real estate folks like you illustrious ladies here on the panel, and doctors, so that we have this knowledge base. So now it's about really improving that. And I really think I'm going to commend this father, even though he wasn't present in providing for her while he was alive. At least he took the initiative to have an insurance policy. I think every Black household should have a life insurance policy. Someone even speculated that a lot of these police killings would decrease or cease if all these Black men who were getting shot and killed by police had a $200,000, $300,000 million insurance policy on them, because the insurance companies would go to the federal government and say, hey, we need to do something about this because we're having to pay out all these insurance claims. So I think, it's really important for families to break these generational curses. We now have people who are more educated, who have access to more knowledge, and we can change those patterns. Because I've worked in end of life care for a part of my career, and there's nothing like seeing what happens when a loved one is on their deathbed, when families start robbing each other. Still, some people comment in the comments about somebody did a quick claim and stole the house and stole property. You really see this around funeral time and hospice time. No matter what race, people start stealing and fingers get sticky.
Come on, somebody. I can shake my tambourine to that, like Athena be saying. I'm going to shake my tambourine to that one. No, but when you talk about money talks and bullshit walks, when you talk about lobbyists getting together to pressure some folks because they got to pay out more money because these goddamn police officers keep killing Black people, that's going to make a huge impact. Let everybody have an insurance policy, and these insurance policies got to pay out. We're going to see some changes at the federal level. Trust. So going back, so I wanted to emphasize, though, what Lil Bit said. Lil Bit said, definitely not a set it and forget it. And he was repeating what Nicole said. And I want to make sure that we really emphasize that. Definitely not a set it and forget it. We got to update these things like we update our addresses and our bank accounts. Yep. I need you just to re-emphasize the importance of that, because I think that, people think, well, I've done my job. I did what I was supposed to do. Listen, my kids was really young when I set up, certain insurance policies and things like that. So I got to make sure that those things are updated. Or even like, I was married at one time. This man should not be the beneficiary of my bank account or of my insurance. So talk about the importance of that, Nicole.
Here, I think the issue ends up being that no one wants to consider their mortality. And so in order for you to be mature enough to come up with an estate plan, like what you're going to do with your wealth, to make sure that generations behind you have a financial legacy. You have to consider the fact that your butt ain't gonna be living forever. You're gonna die. And so when people do it, it's like pulling teeth, because it's an emotional piece that goes with it. Having to realize that I may not be here forever is hard. And so then when people do it, they're like, okay, I did it. Pat me on the back, check it off the list. We're good forever. But just like I was talking about with my beloved late pastor, you know, he tried, he thought he was doing the right thing. But, you know, anytime there's a major life event, that means getting married, getting divorced, having a child, having the loss of a loved one, because that should be a trigger for you to think. Buying property, selling property, whether it's a car or a house, a boat, airplane. Like when you buy stuff, you should be thinking, wait a minute, do I need to change this? And then if none of those events happen, you at least need to be looking to do it at least every 2 years, because every 2 years, I guarantee you're going to have a different car. You may have a different job. You may have moved.
You may have a different man.
Right. Something has changed. My aunt got lucky. Her ex-husband never took her off of his stuff. Rest his soul. He died. She hit the jackpot. She was married to somebody else, moved on. She got everything because he did a fix it and forget it. He didn't go back and say, okay, we're not together. Now what? Luckily, my auntie wasn't like the mama in that video. And she did give money to his son to make sure that his son was set up and he was doing well. But that's integrity, and you cannot count on that when people die. The sad part is,
say that last part. That's what? That's
integrity. And you cannot count. Emotions get in the way. I have a probate case right now I'm watching sisters who should be coming together and helping each other get through the loss of their father. Instead, they're arguing over pennies. Well, you're going to sell it for this because you were going to, and I keep having, I feel like I'm on Jerry Springer and I'm trying to keep them from fighting. And I'm like, this is the wrong time for that, because when somebody dies and an opportunity for money shows up, people lose their integrity. They lose their minds, but it's because of, it's emotions. You're letting your emotions lead you, and that's not healthy. But
well, I'll say to that, my mama always said, people get funny when it comes to death and money.
Mm-hmm.
People get funny. I know people who ain't talked to people for 20 years because they came in and they stole mama's jewelry. Or I had clients where let me tell you, I had some clients, they was grown. They was my mom and them age. They was in their 70s. Their mama died. They had a house. It's 5 of them. Mama wanted me. And I'm just listening. I'm at the hair salon, so I can't really say nothing, right? So I'm listening to them fight, bicker. I finally get in the car and I finally have a moment to say something. And I finally said, yo mama would be ashamed of yourselves. Everybody got quiet. I said, you guys are brother and sister. Y'all my mama and them age, and y'all over here arguing about what mama would want. If mama wanted that, mama would have did it. And everybody got quiet. They was like, we sorry, Sister Constance. They all church going people. We sorry, Sister Constance. But it's true. They will hate each other for the rest of their lives. Your children, one of the things I told my mother-in-law when my father-in-law died is, if you want your kids not to hate each other, you need to get a living trust set up. We got to have a succession plan. And it's extremely important. You know, my father is damn near, my dad is in his mid 70s. His mom is in her 90s. And I was telling him, you know, the other day about, you know, some of the asset protection for his mother.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to talk about my mama dying.
But she's gonna, everybody's at taxes and death, the two things that everybody is
in the 90s, Dad. Like, come on, we gotta face the facts. You've lived long enough to see how many people died, and you thinking that your mama gonna live forever? Come on now.
I have one more thing to add, and I'm gonna sit back. I can't let this show go off without saying it. Living trust are definitely a great tool for transferring wealth, protecting your wealth. Mm-hmm. Don't think though that if you have a trust that you don't still need at least a pour over will, because it goes back to the fixing and forgetting it. And a pour over will is your protection when you put stuff in trust, and then you get new assets and other assets that didn't make it into the trust.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Y'all, this has been, and I'm so glad this, because I'm telling you, asset protection, wealth protection is my passion for Black people. I am a wealth activist. I love Black people. I feel like I'm the Harriet Tubman of wealth. I could have freed 100 more people if y'all Negroes knew that y'all was slaves, financial slaves. No, but it's real. Like, not only do we want to be able to get the wealth, we need to be able to keep the wealth. We need to be able to transfer the wealth. That's why there's such a discrepancy. But I do want to welcome you guys all. We getting ready to end this. I do want to say this is the Fly Nubian Money. We formerly the Fly Nubian Queen. And you know what? Somebody said that they didn't get the alert. So make sure you text the word Queens, that's Queens, so that you can get these alerts to 87948. Follow Fly Nubian Money, follow the Fly Nubian Queens, follow us everywhere on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Now, ladies, I need your fight. Somebody said Constance Tubman. I love it. That's just call me Constance Tubman. Go ahead, Athena. You're up.
All right, ladies, we have talked a lot today. We have shared so much wealth and knowledge with you all today. If you do not want to be a terrible mother who snatches your child inheritance away, please follow me at wewealthwomen.com. There, I help women learn to confidently manage their finances and to create the wealth they deserve so they don't have to take it from their kids. You can find me at We Wealth Women on all social media platforms. That's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And listen to my podcast on Apple, iHeart, and Spotify, the We Wealth Women podcast.
Girl, you got a podcast? Yes. Make sure you listen to to Athena, the wealth warrior, the wealth woman, We Wealth Warrior Woman. Make sure you listen to her podcast. Dr. Charm, what you thinking?
Oh, my final thoughts are, please get your affairs in order. If you have somebody that didn't pay child support, take them to court and get your planning done. If you have wills, trusts, insurance policies, assets, just get it right, because just because you pass away doesn't mean that other people don't have to deal with the fallout of it all. You can find me on Instagram at CharmGirl77. For those who are wanting spiritual readings, I'm an astrologer, psychic medium, and tarot card reader. You can text me at 404-832-5179 to set an appointment for those things. And I'm very happy to have been here today.
Yes. And our special guest, Miss Nicole Shelton. What you think?
Well, one, I want to say thank you for having me on. Two, our future generations depend on us not being like the mama in the video, not swindling our children for what money that they do have, but to make sure that they know, one, what to do with wealth when they get it, how to get the wealth, and how to pass it on to the generations that come after them. And so I hope you all learned something today. I always say I'm your sister girl in the law. Nicole, it used to be Nicole Compton. I'm trying to get used to Shelton. But when you do your wealth planning, make sure that you educate yourself, get the professionals that you need on your team to help you, because your money matters for you and for your family, your community, and generations to follow.
Nicole, where can they find you?
You know what? I've been in hiding.
What?
Since I left Fly Nubian. Yes, I've been in hiding. If you want, however, you can reach me by phone at 502-509-7002. That's my office line. I have an app set on it where you can also text me on that same number, 502-509-7002. 502-509-7002. I've got a directory of Black attorneys that I'm launching. And so if I cannot help you, I do have the attorneys and the professionals near you that I co-sign on, that I would put my trust in to get you what you need. So you can call me, you can text me, 502-509-7002.
Thank you for that, Nicole. And we appreciate you. We got to get you on more often for sure. And I'm your girl, Constance Carter. Y'all, the 2017, there was a study that said that Black median wealth was going to be at 0 in 2053. And in 2022, it showed that white wealth was about $1.2 million. Black wealth was about 200,000. Black household income. So there's a $1.3 million disparity. And it looks like I did a TED talk. It's called Google That Shit. You got to go see it. It's about closing the wealth gap. And I was like, I believe that, that is, they done fucked around and gave us the internet. We going to make it. We going to exceed the wealth gap. And here's how we could do it. But it looks like we're going down that way because not only are we we're not getting the wealth on the same level, we're not passing the wealth. And that's the reason why we are on that trajectory to losing our wealth in our community. So it is paramount. We do this because we want to help the next generation. We do this for our communities. We do this for our children. And so it's so important that, y'all getting this money, y'all out there getting this money, y'all buying these houses, y'all doing all this stuff, but it's important that you're able to keep it. And so make sure you speak to Nicole about setting up that trust. Make sure you talk to all of the pertinent people that you need to ensure that it's not a one and done or whatever she said, that you're constantly updating your information so the right things go to the right people, so wealth can stay in your community, wealth can stay in your family. I'm Constance Carter. My goal and my passion and my purpose is helping Black women. There's an African proverb that says, when you teach a man, you teach an individual, but when you teach a woman, you teach a nation. And so I'm helping Black women from all over the country increase their net worth by at least $1 million with a program that I call the Net 7 Collective. And we have women from 25 to 80, from starting out entrepreneurs to Harvard PhDs. We have attorneys, we have everyone. We have people who have regular jobs, regular 9-to-5s, but they have one goal in mind, and that's just to change their lives, change their mindset, get the wealth, keep the wealth. Because wealth is not just about money, it's a holistic experience. So that's what I do. So if you're interested in my cohort, I'm getting ready to start the next one in August. Go ahead and shoot me go to bookwithconstance.com, and I'd be happy to talk to you to see if you'd be right for the program. But I want to help you. That's my passion. I love Black people, and I especially love Black women. Follow me on I Am Constance Carter on every platform, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. I Am Constance Carter. Listen, ladies, you guys were absolutely amazing. This is a passionate conversation. I'm glad it went down to the wealth and the trust and all that stuff, because I think it's paramount for our community. So thank you guys. Thank y'all. And we will see you tomorrow, same time, same bat channel on the Fly Nubian Money. Thank you. Peace.